Couple things. It's always fun to go back and grade the video after your first game. Everything up to this point has been scrimmages and practices, and there's nothing like getting everybody off the field and actually playing in a game. A lot of good things going and watching the video and grading things. Obviously, there's things we got to correct. I think the biggest takeaway, or a couple of the bigger takeaways, was no turnovers. That's something that we talk about all the time. If we protect the ball, we win. I mean, that's our mentality offensively. If we protect the ball, regardless of everything else, we win. That's the mentality that we want to have. We did a good job with that and had a lot of people touching the ball as well. A lot of guys played, so that was good. I believe the one sack was on a run play there. We had some miscommunication, so did a good job protecting the quarterback. I think he only got hit maybe once back there on a pass, and then one penalty. And those are things that you are kind of concerned about going into the first game, especially when you're going to play a lot of guys. From a procedure standpoint, I thought we did a pretty good job there. Was pleased with our run and pass balance. Thought that was good. One focus in the offseason has been the explosive plays. I think we had 10 explosive plays, 4 runs and 6 passes. So that was good to see, and by multiple people touching the ball there. And like we talked about, having 2 drives over 90 yards and then getting an opportunity with a 2-minute drive to be able to go push it in before half was big. Played close to 40 players offensively, so that was good for a lot of guys to get some experience. After watching the video, the areas, there's a lot of things to correct. That's probably the most coaching going on after your first game. Just a lot of things that really may not come up as much in practice or in a scrimmage as it does in the first game. Had a few missed assignments early, I think, that stalled some drives early in the first quarter. So getting those cleaned up, and then like we talked about, felt like the tempo definitely could be better than it was, a little slower than we wanted it to be. And we always want to get off to a fast start, and it took us a little while to get going. Once we got going, felt like we got in a good rhythm. Felt good about both Kelly and Trevor. Both of those guys made plays, and both of them had some throws that they'd like to have back, not unlike any of our other guys. But I think overall, both of those guys did a good job. And as coaches, we expect probably biggest jump from game 1 to game 2, just from all the learning that'll take place. So that'll be a big part of our focus today as we come in, is getting the corrections, things we need to get cleaned up, and then getting ready for Texas A&M. Obviously, it'll be a huge challenge on the road at a hostile environment. Very talented defense. I could tell watching a little bit of their game on Thursday night. The first thing that pops out is they're very athletic. They got great speed, and they're very long. I'm looking at their defensive roster and depth chart. Both corners are 6'2". They got great length. Their linebackers are 6'2", 6'3", 240, 245. And then those guys up front are very talented guys. So it'll definitely be a great matchup, one we're looking forward to. This is kind of what we've become used to at Clemson now. This is kind of our normal, going on the road in a hostile environment versus a very talented team. So this will be a great challenge for our team and our offense this year, early in the year. Also have a lot of respect for Mike Elko, their defensive coordinator. He's got a reputation as being one of the better defensive coordinators in the country. Obviously, we're familiar with him, playing him at Wake Forest, I believe 2014 through 16, and then he was at Notre Dame, did a good job at Notre Dame last year, and already off to a good start. So that's kind of where we are right now, and I'll open it up for any questions.
What were some of the specific, factors that kept the tempo from being what you wanted early?
There's a lot of things that play into the tempo. That's kind of what we talked to the guys. It takes all 11 guys really buying into it and being focused on it. First of all, from the guys that are getting signals. Some of our players have to get the signal. Some players, get to play maybe from the quarterback, but the guys that are skill guys that are trying to get the signal, immediately as soon as the play is over, getting their eyes back to the sideline, getting the signal, and having a sense of urgency, getting lined up. Just going back, you're not only grading what happens during the play, but you're also grading, the video and the time in between plays. And, because we can't get started till all 11 guys are set and ready to go. Same way up front, getting up there, getting set, making the calls, and then obviously the quarterback leading it with snap count, cadence, and those type of things. So it's definitely something we can coach off of and definitely improve. I felt like have improved in fall camp in that area, and I mean it wasn't horrible game one. It just wasn't quite as fast as we wanted it to be. And also another part that has to do with your tempo is your execution. If you got missed assignments and it puts you back in tough third down situations, and that slows up your rhythm.
Jeff, can your familiarity with Jimbo, with Elko, as you talked about, can that help in preparations this week, or is it a totally new situation?
Yeah, I think first of all, this is you don't really know what you're going to get. There is a bit of an unknown out there anytime you have a new coordinator, anytime you have a new head coach, you got a new coaching staff with a whole new program. I mean, obviously, I think we've got close to 1,000 plays, that we've broken down at Elko, now with the first game here at A&M at 3 different spots. So you definitely really have to prepare for all of it, but also understanding that you could get something different, because even though his scheme may be similar, what he does within the scheme really varies with the type of personnel that he has. And I would say that he's got different personnel at A&M than maybe he had at some other places. And then also coaches change. Even though your philosophy may be the same, what you're doing, I think we're doing some things different than maybe what we did 3 or 4 years ago. So I think it's one of those things that you have to be prepared for everything, and probably even a few things that aren't on video, and then the same thing with them. I mean, obviously, Coach Fisher's played us, Coach Elko's played us, so they have some familiarity with our offense, and so those are things that we'll take into account as well.
How have you seen Kelly kind of balance competing for the starting job, but also taking Trevor under his wing and trying to help him out? What's their relationship?
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. When I was somebody after the game, got home, just kind of looking through some things, and I was looking through some pictures, trying to find some ball security pictures for my wide receivers to point out good ball security and bad ball security. And one of the pictures that I loved was, Kelly congratulating Trevor as he came off the field, first one over there. And that's what we get to see every day on the practice field and the meeting rooms. I mean, those guys, are Clemson teammates. And I think, again, a lot of it goes to the culture that Coach Sweeney's done a good job of really creating here, where it's team first, and both of those guys, along with Chase Bryce, represent that and done a good job with that.
Yeah, going back to personnel, obviously this week that the roster's going to shrink in size of playing time. Did any of the new guys make the case for playing on Saturday outside of Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going into the game against Furman. We wanted everybody that deserved an opportunity to play, to get to play. And then those guys knew that, what you do, it doesn't matter if you had 5 reps or 20 reps, what you do with those reps are going to have an impact on, how many reps you get the next game. And along with what they do, we got a full week of practice. But, there wasn't anybody offensively, we talked about it, there wasn't anybody offensively that we were disappointed with as a whole, or went, he's not quite ready for that yet. Now, it's a huge step up this week, going on the road in that environment and playing a very talented defense will be different than playing at home in an opener here. But I think we were encouraged with the young guys. When you throw the ball up to Darian Kendrick for the first time, how's he going to respond? Does he go attack it and finish the play, or does he kind of, not do what you want him to do. And so you saw that. Again, Justin Ross, first time you throw him the ball, what does he do in that environment? Ball security left a little bit to be desired, but he got it in the end zone. So that's a good place to start right there. And then also for me, guys like Cornell Powell and DeAndre Overton, guys that are wanting to really take that next step in being able to play a lot of meaningful minutes. I saw some improvement. For me, the little things that I look at is the touchdown that DeAndre Overton had is the same one he had an opportunity versus NC State last year. Same situation on the field, everything exact same coverage and all that. He just used a better technique and finished the play this time. So those are things as coaches that you're just kind of checking boxes because you want to see that improvement. But there's no doubt this will be a new challenge this week, and what happens in practice, the way that they learn what we're asking them offensively with the game plan will be, obviously different getting ready for a new opponent, and then also what they do in the practice field will have an impact on how many reps those guys get Saturday night.
Coach, going into environments or big-time road environments, how much do you encourage your players to take advantage of that virtual reality system?
Yeah, I think that's a good tool to have for sure, and that's something Coach Sweeney. I think we have just about. I don't know if we're going to have if we have Texas A&M on that or not. Right now, we'll have it after this game, but that's something. Again, we're trying to. There's a lot of different uses of that, but one of that, especially for the young kids, that haven't been in that type of environment. I mean, for Justin Ross, that was a big environment for him Saturday in front of 80,000 people that were cheering from you, and now it's going to be like the opposite this week. But at the same time, Coach Sweeney tells our guys all the time that external factors should not have an impact on our execution, and if it does, then we're not going to be a consistent team. And something that Tony and I talk to the offense about all the time is kind of this offense's DNA. Even though that some of these guys that have played in those big games maybe have moved on and are in the NFL, but our team and our offense, I mean, this is just like a normal game. I believe 15 of our last 16 road games are at night. I know last year and the last couple of years we got some big road games at night versus ranked opponents. I mean, that's more normal than going somewhere and playing in a very quiet environment at noon. And so just kind of reminding them who they are, and really the fact that the only thing that's going to matter come Saturday night is how we execute, and we shouldn't let those external factors have an impact on that.
Coach, Trevion was kind of banged up at the end of camp. How good was it to see him come in and make that big third down catch? And Coach Sweeney said back in July that he was the unquestionable leader of the wide receivers. Do you still think he is?
Yeah, I think Trevion and Hunter are both our leaders. They're both fifth-year seniors. We were at dinner the other night, and Trevion and Hunter and myself were trying to count up how many fifth-year senior wideouts that I've had in the 10 years. I've had a lot of three-and-done guys, but I haven't had as many guys that have been here for 5 years. So it's a luxury to have those guys that have been here for a long time and have a lot of experience. I mean, Trevion, in our mind as coaches, he's a starter. It just happens to be that we start with 3 wideouts instead of 4. But, I mean, he's in that category with those other guys because of what he's done on our practice field and then what he's done in the past. But that was great to see him go make that play, and was not a surprise at all for us as coaches because he's been one of the most consistent and effective guys this spring and fall camp. So hopefully that'll continue, and I expect it will.
How many did you come up with?
How many-
Seniors. How many fifth-year seniors did you come up with?
We did not get to the exact count, but I'm gonna go look that up. Yeah, not many. I think Sharon Peak, because of his injury, he ended up being in that count. I'm sure y'all could probably tell me quicker than I can figure it out.
Jeff, excuse the rambling nature of this question to get to a point, but is there a way to define the quarterback system right now? You don't want to think of it as maybe a strict platoon or a 2-quarterback system, or is it no, it's more one guy and then we're going to get another guy that just snaps. Is there a way to kind of define where you think it's at right now?
I think the way to define it is that they're a part of the Clemson offense. I mean, Tony and I are co-coordinators. We're part of coordinating the Clemson offense. You know, I mean, all the wide receivers. I mean, go at every position, really. Offensive line. I mean, how many guys? We play 8, 9 guys a game. Go to tight end, play 4 to 5 a game, regardless of who we play. We're going to play 9 to 10 wideouts a game. We're going to play 4 running backs a game. And now it just so happens that we're going to play at least 2 quarterbacks a game. And so for us, it's not a major deal. It's not something that we spend a lot of time talking about. I think if, you know, I said this before, some people are playing 2 quarterbacks because they're trying to find out if they have one good enough to win with. That's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different worry as a coach. For our situation, you know, it's, you know, you got 2 guys that are very effective that bring. They're similar in some ways, but they're different in some ways in what they can bring to the offense. But, you know, we don't call the game any different with either of those guys in there. And my wide receivers, I mean, to be honest, we don't get in the huddle and say, all right, who's in? Okay, he's in. All right, I'm going to run this route a little different. I mean, I have to remind myself when I'm going back after the game and kind of trying to figure out, I was doing that Saturday on the way home, trying to figure out what quarterback was in on some of the different series, and I had to go back to watch the video. And but, you know, we take a lot of pride. Coach Sweeney takes a lot of pride in playing a lot of people. We take a lot of pride offensively. Number one, to play a lot of people, you have to have recruited well. You don't want to just play people to play people. They need to be, you know, good enough to help you go win. And then number 2 is, you know, you have to have a lot of guys prepared and they have to put in the work. And I mean, both of those guys have. I mean, we would be thrilled if we just had one of any of those 3. And so it's, you know, it is what it is right now. Let them go play. And until anything changes, it's not a concern for us or anything like that.
So is it fair to say then that if you went the entirety of the season with both of those guys getting a decent number of reps in each game, that'd be okay with you? Or is the goal still ideally by week 5, 6, 7, you'd love to have one guy that's kind of established himself?
I think the ideal scenario for us is that they both play well, and we'll figure out from there, you know. But I mean, you know, obviously Coach Sweeney would be the one that would have the ultimate say. We hadn't even talked about that. We just said, hey, they did a good job Saturday, and as long as they do a good job in practice this week, you know, we're going to keep playing them, and hopefully they'll both play well all year long. And that's literally as far as we've gotten. But do I think it's a benefit if you legitimately have 2 guys that you can win with and both of them get a chance to play? Yes, I do, because at some point, you know, somebody may get hurt and you're not pulling a guy off the bench that hadn't played all year, you know. So to be honest, we have not talked past. We talked about Furman, and we talked about our general thoughts going into A&M, and that's literally where we are right now.
Coach, I imagine you would like to avoid putting Trevor inside his own 10-yard line like you did a couple of times on Saturday. How much will those considerations be a factor, just his first time in a road environment despite his obvious poise?
I don't think there's any concern for us. I mean, I don't think we're going to, you know, I don't think we feel like we have to protect Trevor from anything. I don't feel like we have to protect Kelly from anything. Is this the first time those true freshmen are going on the road? Is this the first time that our team has gone to Texas A&M? The stadium looks different, a lot of people, all that. Absolutely. But I don't think it's a situation where we feel like we got to protect either of those guys. I mean, I think it's literally, you know, letting those guys go out and play and execute the offense. And again, our thought process is really from the inside out. So whether we start, you know, may do some things different, obviously, schematically when you start at the 1. But we go out in the field, we want to execute. We want to be worried about what we're doing and not worried about where you are on the field and those type of situations.
Jeff Sharon Peak is a guy that had a very up and down career here with injuries and lost another year to injury last year. What was kind of your reaction when you heard he got off the bubble and was able to stick with the Jets?
Well, you know, that's one good thing when these scouts come through in fall camp, you know, and they come and obviously ask us questions about our current guys. I like to ask them how our guys that are in the NFL are doing. And I know talking to the guys with the Jets, they were really pleased with Sharon, had a good offseason, had done a good job. So I wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't surprised whenever I saw that he made it, because I've been hearing some really good things, and I've talked to him from time to time. But he's always been a guy, great size, can run, helps on special teams. And his biggest thing is just being able to stay healthy. And so I'm glad, I'm hoping he can have a healthy and productive season this year. But I was happy to see that, but not surprised based off the intel that I'd been getting from some of those NFL guys the last month or so.
Have you been to a game at Texas A&M?
I have not. I've been to a lot of ACC and SEC places, but obviously with Texas A&M just joining the SEC a couple years ago, so one place that I have not been to. So I'm looking forward to it.
You're well aware of that debacle the last time Clemson went down there, right? With the bus and the staying an hour away.
Yeah, I wasn't on that trip. It was only, I guess there's a 4-year window from whenever I finished playing to when I came back,
Yeah.
and that was during that window. But yeah, I've heard about that, but not recently.
Y'all make sure the bus has air conditioning in there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think hopefully we'll have AC. But if not, we'll deal with it. We'll be all right.